Good morning, or afternoon, or whatever time it is. Today's subject is mystery shopping. Now, I'm always looking for a good hustle, looking for something I can do to make a little extra money, because my goal is to pay for those cruises, pay for vacations, travel anywhere I can get. I need a little extra cash for those things. So, I discovered mystery shopping in about 2011, so I've been doing it a good 10 years. When I started, I did everything. But let's back up. Mystery shopping. What is mystery shopping? Mystery shopping covers a whole range of things. I know that I used to think it was somebody who went in and did something at a store and was secretive and trying to see how the customer service was. That's one of them. There's also, but it services a lot of things. There's also things like audits where you go in and you time how long a service takes. There's times when you take a picture, so it's more of a photo audit. I've done all kinds of things, and when I first started, I did everything I could get my hands on for the worst price ever. I remember doing these ones where I would call a car insurance company and I would ask about car rates. I would spend 15 to 20 minutes talking on the phone trying to get a quote. Then I would spend 15 or 20 minutes writing up the report, because it was supposed to be, it was a long drawn out report. And this thing would take me up to an hour at the least amount of time, and I got $6. And I did tons of these and thought I was doing good. After a while, I started to discover, no, we're not doing these anymore. So, but like I said, when I started, I would do lots of them. I would go to a big box store. I would have two scenarios. I would go in and I'd spend an hour maybe, and then 15, 20 minutes on the report, if not half an hour, and I'd get $10. So after doing lots of those, I finally decided, let's sort of cut this down and get the better ones and leave all these yucky ones away. But it took me a while to figure out what there was. People always ask me, how do I find mystery shops? Well, there's a place called JobSlinger.com. JobSlinger, SLINGER.com. And you can sign up through them. They have a free product, and they also have one that you pay for where your information's sort of saved and it's easier and quicker to get through things. I used them religiously when I started trying to find jobs. I was actively looking for things. After a while, once you get a reputation, you have people contacting you for the jobs, or once you start doing certain things, normally the scheduler, who knows then that you're dependable and you get your reports done, that you do them correctly, will come to you and say, hey, I've got these coming up again. Do you want to do them for your area? That's what I like the most. I've gotten some of the best jobs from people who called me, had heard about me, or I'd done something for them, because they do talk, they do keep up. If there's also, I've gotten jobs where somebody said, hey, I needed somebody and you were recommended. I've got some really good ones. So one of the best ones that I've ever done, was one of my favorites, was I was hired to go to a grocery store, and I had a list. I had a list of the store brand, and then for each store brand item, like salad dressing, then I had to buy the national brand, maybe Kraft or something. Now, if they didn't have the store brand, I wasn't to buy the national brand. If they had the store brand but not the national brand, I still would buy the store brand. So most of the time, if it was 20 items, I would buy 40 items. Then I would pack these up in a box, and I had to pack them carefully, especially if they were food items in jars like jellies and things like that. And I would send them FedEx to this company. They paid me for the items. They paid me for any supplies. They paid for the FedEx, and then they paid me a couple $100. And the whole project, the shopping took me an hour maybe at the most, depending on what kind of items there were, and the packing usually took me a couple hours. So maybe 3 hours worth of work, I'd get a couple $100. and it was the bomb. I love that one. I'd come out with this stuff and they'd go, well, you seem to be buying a lot of cereal. You seem to be buying a lot of soda. Soda was the one I didn't like. But anyways, and I'd go, yeah, I've got the kids coming over, or we're going on vacation or something, because I wasn't sure if I was supposed to tell the store what I was doing. But it was fun. And I didn't have to put, even though I put my money out at first, I did get paid exactly back what I had spent. And they were very good about it, because I was sort of like, I've done something for you before, but I'm not sure, because I have done something where I went to spend the night at a hotel and was never reimbursed for that. The company never paid me. And it was only by seeing other mystery shoppers complaining about this company that I realized I hadn't been paid. Because mystery shopping is a contract work. Most of the time, unless you're set up with a company and you have lots of free time where you've got a route every month or something that you're doing, it's contract work. You see the job, you apply for the job, and you either get the job or not. So every week you may have nothing. Some weeks you may have a lot. This past week I had 13 jobs. None of them were longer than 15 minutes. Well, most of them were only about 15 minutes. Some of them were about an hour, but that's a lot of jobs to schedule in my free time. So I do them on lunch hours, I do them before I go to work. Depending on the job, I can do them early in the morning or late at night, and some I have to do by a certain time. But it's contract work. So I had all those jobs this week. Next week I've got nothing. So it's hard to make a budget based on that. And I'm not that organized a person. I'm pretty organized to a point, but when it comes to making a spreadsheet of what I did, when I did it, when I'll get paid, it's too much work. And since it's a side hustle, I don't track it as good as I should, because people say, well, how much do you make? And I'm like, I really have no idea. Sometimes I make a lot, sometimes I don't. And it varies, because one company may pay you, like if you do it by the 15th of the month, you'll get paid by the 15th of the next month. Some companies, if you do it any at all in this month, you won't get paid until, this is September. You won't get paid in October, you'll get paid in November. Some companies will pay you every 15 days. Some companies will put it right in your bank account. Some will pay you through PayPal. Some will just send you a check. And it's all different. And that's the trouble with them is, this company is going to pay you right away. This company will pay you next month. This company will pay you the month after next month. So it takes a lot to figure that out, and I really don't care that much. I've worked with enough of the companies that I'm doing things for now that I'm not really doing anything for anybody new. I have one company that asked me to go into a department store and do certain areas in that, like purses. Sometimes I go and see if something's, how the display is. I was going into a department store once a month and taking pictures of the display before, straightening the display like it was purses. So I had to straighten them, push the packing in, zip them up, take after pictures. And I did that once a month, and I would talk to the lady in the department and say, how are these selling? Is there a certain style that's better than another? And it would take me maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And I got $17 maybe. Wasn't a lot, but I'm not spending any money, and it's a little bit of time. My sister says that I'm stupid because I'm not making enough money, but I look at it as, how much of my time is it taking? I don't do anything less than $10 an hour, and even then I'm funny. Like, I don't like doing restaurant jobs where you go into a restaurant and you are a straight out mystery shopper. You go in, you order your food, you pay for your food, and then you write up about the place. I don't like those because they are reimbursement jobs. So I'm not getting any money over and above what we're getting back. And I'm all for the profit. So my main thing is I want to do jobs where I'm making cash. Like, I do a lot of fast food ones. I did a chain for a while, and I did so many of those. I made $5 per visit. The whole visit took me about half an hour. I had to do drive-through and go inside. I had to time it. I had to stay for so long. And I would make $5 over and above what I spent for the food. I would do 10 of those a month. So at $5, yeah, it's not the best, but I was making $50 for a little bit of time. And they were easy, not a lot of effort, not a lot of write-up. That's another thing. If I have to write a book, even though they're paying me good money, I'm not as interested in that. Like apartment shops. I don't like doing apartment shops very often because even though they might pay $20, $25, and I'm not putting any money out myself, it's the amount of time to go through, then you have to write it up, and for whatever reason, these apartment people want you to write a book. Well, I spend 15, 20 minutes going through the tour, and then I gotta spend an hour or two writing up my report. It's not worth the $20, $25. I wanted my favorite things to do, other than, I remember what I said earlier, one of my favorite things to do is like photo audits or the displays at these department stores, anything where I can do the report right where I'm there. I don't have to write up a lot when I'm done. Like I do audits at like oil change places or big box stores sometimes. And when I do the report, I put it right into an app. And so when I leave the place, the report is submitted and I'm done. Oh, I love that. I used to do gas stations. In fact, I did 8 gas stations one Saturday. I drove all the way up almost to the Virginia border and then all the way down to Wilmington getting all these gas stations. I got up at like 4 in the morning so I could be at the first gas station, the earliest I could start. And at that time, they didn't have an app or even that you could do it on your phone. And I had to take all these pictures, had to make sure I had enough pictures in case there's any questions or there's any problems, because you can't use the same picture twice. They get all upset, and you can't, some of them I would take and I would crop them and use it again, and oh, you can't do that either. No cropping those photos. And now they have apps, so I would take the picture while I'm there, take the picture. So when I leave, I'm done. Those are my favorite. Even if I spend an hour there, when I leave, I'm done. And those are my absolute favorites. The audits where I can put it right into the app, the little things that I do at grocery stores, I can put right in the app. So when I am there and I'm doing it, I'm putting right into the app and then I'm done. Those are the best. There's no coming back writing a report. There's no time spent doing all that. And I've gotten really picky. Now, some of these fast food places, I was saying I was getting $5 a job. At one point, they couldn't find people to do certain jobs in some of the small cities around us. So they would pay me $20, $25 to drive to Kinston, which is maybe half an hour from here, to do a 30-minute job. And gas back then was cheaper, so even now I still look at it, and I track all my mileage for tax purposes. Anything I buy, if I have to buy a printer, if I buy a new laptop, all that comes off my business expenses for my taxes, because I track everything. I have a little thing, I write the mileage, I figure mileage there, mileage back. But just recently there was a fast food place and they couldn't get anybody to do it. They paid me $45 over and above the food to drive up to Tarboro to do a drive-through. So we drove up to Tarboro, did the drive-through, and then we drove right back home. Now that one I did the report in the car on the way, and it was great. I love things like that. In fast food, I'm not putting a lot of money out, and they pay over and above. Now, there are a few restaurants that we'll do because we like them, but I am not a big fan of restaurants. I want cash, because that's my whole thing, is I'm trying to do a side hustle. What other things? Photo audits, I do banks, apartments, different things, but I don't even like banks anymore. Car dealerships. When I started, they were paying $15 a car dealership, and I did so many that I couldn't answer my phone for a year. Now, this was back before everybody had your cell phone number and you got 50 million spam calls a day. This was when nobody had your number, and I couldn't answer my phone for probably a year because they called so much. Because car dealership, they just don't give up after a month. Your name goes in a book and they call you for years and years and years. But I was doing so many of those that it was just awful. And it was great because I got to see new cars. I got to drive new cars. I enjoy doing that. I enjoy doing the apartment tours. I get to see apartments, looking to see what's available in town, what kind of prices they're running. I love pretending to be somebody, it's a little acting thing. My mother, she tried to do some mystery shopping, but she was too nervous to do them. The acting got her really stressed. She felt like she was lying or taking their time, which there is that, am I wasting this salesman's time? Well, the way you look at it is the company is paying you to waste the salesman's time. He may get a raise, he or she may get a raise based on what you report. So you want to be accurate, you want to be fair, you don't want to be emotional. There was one place that found out, I guess they tell the managers who we are. Anyways, she told me, she was laughing one day, and she told me, she said, yeah, we knew who you were, because I'm not doing them anymore for them. And she said, we liked you. And I'm like, why? She said, well, we had this guy come in, and he would just complain about everything. And then you'd come in, and everything would be great. And I'm like, yeah, but everything is great. I'm not trying to lie or make up any kind of thing there. But anyways, how to start with mystery shopping. Go to jobslinger.com, sign up for them or not, and just go through and look at the jobs. Things to consider: distance to drive, amount of time for the job. Set your lowest amount you won't make. Now, they'll call me a lot of times for jobs, the companies, and I have no qualms in saying, I don't like that kind of job, but I'll do it if you pay me this amount of money. And I'm fair. I don't overprice myself. So when they turn me down, I'm like, in fact, I have had companies where I'll broach a price because it'll say make an offer, and they'll shoot me down. And then I'll watch it. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, here they're offering it at the price I asked to do it at. But they're like, oh, we'll wait and somebody will take it at this price. Well, I'm like, if you're asking me to make an offer and I'm offering you $5 over what you've got, or $10 because it's a distance, more than likely you need to go ahead and get it to me, because I am doing it for a fair price. They do call and ask me for certain ones, and I'll tell them straight out, I don't like those. And if I'm going to do it, I want a nice amount of money. There's one place, one oil change kind of place that I do, and it's an audit, so it's not a surprise. And the people that who contact me and make sure I'm doing everything right, or that I'm not having any issues, are in Malaysia. And I've actually gotten to know some of these people, and it's just really cool meeting people. Some of these companies that I work for are small, and I get to talk to them about different things, and I meet lots of people, and I get to pretend to be somebody else. And I'm making money for vacations, for birthday presents, for Christmas presents. And it's a great thing. And sometimes I think, well, should I stop? But as soon as I run out of jobs, I start going, where's there is a job? Where's there a job? And I look. I do most of them in the town that I live in, but sometimes I go out, like I might go to Goldsboro. So I'll look up, and if there's a nice paying job in Goldsboro, I'll sign up for that one and see if I can't get me 3 or 4 other jobs. Like I should be going to Goldsboro next week on my day off, and I'm doing a couple jobs there, and I book them all together. I used to go to Kinston a lot and do a lot. In fact, I used to go to McDonald's because they had free Wi-Fi back when we didn't have cell phones with data plans and all this good stuff. And I can do most everything on my phone now. But I would take my laptop, and I sat in the car one day, and I was doing my reports, and I turned the car off, but I hadn't gotten out of the car because I was just using their free Wi-Fi, and I had left the lights on and the battery went dead. Thankfully, I have AAA. You ever have any doubts? AAA is what you need. Now, unless you've got something through your insurance, I love AAA. We use AAA all the time. Anyways, mystery shopping. Yes, it's a great hustle, but it takes a person. It's not as easy as you think it is. You've got to be willing to do it and stick with it, work through the things that scare you, realize you're not going to get rich, and you probably can't say, okay, every month I'm going to make $100 or whatever, because it's contract work. But if you can get in with some good companies, and when they have the jobs, they call you. Yeah, in fact, I was mad about that the other day. I had a company that they called me all the time when these certain grocery store jobs came open. And the other day they had posted them. And it must have been a new scheduler they brought in, because normally the scheduler, once they know you're dependable, once they know you do what you're supposed to, they know that you're following the instructions, they'll call you, they'll email you and offer you these jobs in your area before they post them for everybody. So I was a little peeved about that, but it worked out great because I didn't have time to do them anyways. Anyways, mystery shopping, what you need to do.